Hey, this is Leo for Actualized.org, and I want to talk about an interesting situation that I ran across. And basically this is going to lead us into the concept and the idea in personal development of looking and being really attuned to finding ways, subtle ways, that your subconscious is holding you back and limiting you. And here's the example that I come at this with, which really took me for a bit of an epiphany and realization once I saw what was really happening with me. So my girlfriend was over, and she flew over to visit me for some time. And when she was here for about a week, what happened was that I was cooking for her, and I was just doing my thing. I was cooking, and I was sauteing some mushrooms, and I had a whole carton of mushrooms that I was chopping up and throwing in the saute pan. And as I was doing that, I started sauteing the mushrooms, and there was a full pan of mushrooms, more than enough for 2 people. And then I had other things that I was going to make as well. And I'm sauteing this, and as I'm stirring it around with my spatula, one of the mushrooms, it's not even a whole mushroom, like it was like a sliver of a mushroom, half of it fell out of the pan, and it kind of tumbled and rolled onto the floor. And I'm like, really quickly, I reach for the mushroom and I throw it back into the pan from the floor. 3-second rule, right? So kind of a funny and weird and shameful example. And then my girlfriend saw me and she's like, "Did you put that mushroom back in the pan?" And I'm like, yeah. And then I kind of thought about it for a little bit, and then after that whole incident, I thought about it more, and what I realized that really was a signal of was something much deeper. For me, really, what that was, because I was really upset that that mushroom fell out of the pan. And I didn't want to throw it away, because to me it was wasteful to throw away that mushroom. I thought it could be put to use, as silly as that is. But why did I do that? And why was I so insistent on it? And why was that like an automatic, unconscious response that I had? And moreover, why am I still resistant to that scenario? Because in my mind, and sometimes this happens as I'm cooking stuff and stuff falls out, I'm always tempted to grab it and make use of it. I don't want to waste it. And now that I've kind of had this realization, I'm a little more cognizant of it, and I've actually made a rule that I don't do that. I always throw it in the trash from now on. And I didn't do that for hygienic reasons. I actually think that you can eat stuff off the floor and nothing bad is going to happen to you. Fact is that the human body is designed to handle a lot more than we think it can. And people have been eating stuff from mud and dirt for eons before the whole world was sanitized and clean the way it is now. So it's not so much that that's the problem. The real problem and the big problem that the hygiene issue is really masking is the scarcity problem. Why the hell do I have scarcity about half a mushroom? Because I could take that mushroom and throw it out. But I don't want to, because I feel it's wasteful. And when I looked at that, I'm like, oh, that goes deep. And then I looked back into my past, and the fact is that I have scarcity issues around money, because when I was growing up, money was always a source of conflict in my family, and we had some good times with money, some bad times with money. Overall, it was a really mixed bag, but what it created in me is this sense of insecurity about money and the sense of scarcity, the fact that I might not have enough. And even though right now, objectively, I'm financially well off, I have no problems, I have no debt, I have nice savings, I'm comfortable, I have a business, I have a job, so all those things are in place, but I'm still coming from that old scarcity mindset. And it's really hard to just say, okay, let's just turn that programming off. It doesn't really turn off. You have to really introspect and work it to turn it off. And in fact, right now, I'm still running on that programming, because I was cooking a dish earlier tonight, and I lost one of the little cherry tomatoes that I had on my salad, dropped on the floor. And at this point, I know what I'm doing, so I still have that rule that I'd throw it away, so I did throw it away. But still, for a minute, like for a brief millisecond, I hesitated, and I'm like, why don't Why can't I just like keep it? And my reasoning now is not based on hygiene, it's based on the fact that I'm trying to reprogram my scarcity mindset. Because the scarcity mindset goes much deeper than just food on a salad. What it's really about, it's about money. And the fact is that, I know that I have some quirks about money and that I can be too stingy and too conservative with my money. So for me, it's the opposite problem that some people have. Some people are just wasting the money everywhere and they have the problem they can't hold on to it. But then for other people, actually hoarding money and being too conservative with their money is also a problem. You might wonder how that is. Well, for me, for example, how that manifests is that I might be too conservative, for example, in investing in a situation where I know that I can get a good return. Or I might be too conservative to really invest in a business that I am creating. Not somebody else, but myself, that I believe in. So I might be too stingy to really invest in my own goals. And because my business is tied to my values and to my life purpose, ultimately what it all ties back to is that I can be so stingy that I'm holding myself back, not only financially, but I'm holding myself back from living my purpose fully. And for me, that's been a huge, huge, huge struggle. In fact, one of the reasons it took me a long, long time to find my life purpose is because I was so held back by the money aspect of it. I couldn't just let myself go and say, well, I'm going to do whatever I want to do and trust that it's going to make me money. I had to be very certain that it would, because I had this hang up about the fact that not only do I have to be doing something that I'm really passionate about and can potentially be really good in, and that fits with all my values and all my strengths, but I also have to be able to make a really good living doing it. And that has always, always held me back. And in fact, it still triggers me because those whatever happened in childhood and growing up, whatever those limiting beliefs and experiences were, they're still with me. They're still stuck in this head that I have, and they're part of my subconscious. And even though I'm trying to reprogram myself, it's going to take, I anticipate, probably years of work to really get that ironed out. And it's not going to happen just spontaneously if I leave it. This is going to have to be an active participation on my part. So I already have a couple of books lined up specifically about wealth, and not just how to get rich fast, but specifically what I'm talking about is like wealth psychology, understanding really what are the triggers that people have about money, what are the limiting beliefs, and what are some exercises and other techniques for getting rid of those. So I've already got a couple of those on my wish list, and so I'm planning to. I haven't really delved too deeply into money psychology right now. I haven't done too many exercises on that, but I feel like that's going to be a huge growth spurt for me and a huge release when I can handle that, because it's not even about the money. Ultimately, I don't really care that much about money as long as I've got enough to like pay the bills. But what it is about is that if I don't feel secure, then that is preventing me from going out there and living a charged kind of life. Because the only way you can go out there and take the risks that you want to take is when you feel secure and relatively comfortable. And this has been actually demonstrated in psychological experiments where what they do is they take a young baby, like a couple of years old, and they have that baby in a room, and then what they do is they set up the circumstances in a way where the mother leaves, and then they monitor the baby. And what they found is that the baby is much more likely to go exploring in the room and playing with the toys and talking to new kids and doing some of this scary stuff for a baby when the mother is present. And it's not because the mother is really doing anything. It's just because the baby feels a sense of security and therefore is comfortable venturing out and doing something a little bit risky, a little bit out of its comfort zone. Whereas when the mother is gone, the baby's in the same room, same exact situation, but now it's concerned for its safety, and that concern is so paralyzing that it's not going to go out there and play with any toys. It's not going to go try to make new friends. It's not going to explore the room. It's just going to like cower in a little corner and cry for its mommy. And that's literally what's happening to us when we have hang-ups, right? And I'm talking about money, but this applies across the board to anything. For me personally, I can see that my hang-ups about money have really limited me in business and have limited in the amount of money that I currently have and have really limited my life purpose. So when I figure out my money psychology, I feel that I'm going to get huge boosts in all of those areas. And I'm noticing that in myself, but I'm also noticing that I'm going to have to do the work, right? And the same situation, I want you to take a look and see, do you have hang-ups around money? Or maybe you have hang-ups around something different. Maybe you have hang-ups in relationships and you keep self-sabotaging yourself in relationships. Or you have hang-ups with your social life, or you have hang-ups in your department of health and fitness, whatever it might be. You might have hang-ups there, and usually those come from childhood experiences. Maybe someone told you in school that you were ugly, and so now you feel shy around people. Or maybe someone ridiculed you, and now you've got that. Or maybe somebody told you were stupid, and so now you've got that limiting belief that you're kind of living with, and so you don't go out there and you don't study, and you don't take education very seriously, and you don't challenge yourself out to do stuff that's out of your comfort zone where you have to learn because you feel like you are limited there. So these things seem very childish, and they are, because they actually were generated in childhood and early adulthood, perhaps. But they stick with you. They have a way of sticking with us because they're buried deep in the subconscious, and we usually rarely do the development work, the personal development work that's necessary to weed this stuff out. But there is a silver lining, and the silver lining is that you can weed out almost any hang-up that you have. So literally whatever it is, you should be confident and know that there are tools and resources available right now to fix all of it, any of it, no matter how bad it was. I don't care how bad it was, there's a way to get over it to the point where you can feel safe, secure, and that thing is no longer triggering or influencing you. Of course, the bigger the problem was originally, the more work you have to do to dig yourself out of that hole, but you can do it. And it's there, and the resources on this website and many other places can help you do that. So definitely encourage you to do a little bit of introspection and start to notice how one of these potentially big blocks from your childhood might be manifesting itself in very subtle ways. Something like trying to pick up a mushroom off a kitchen floor, or maybe some other subtle way it comes out in whatever area of your life. All right, so I'm going to leave you with that. Just wanted to share that little insight. I thought it was interesting. Made me think when I first realized it. And that's where I'm going to leave it. I'm signing off, but before I do, a couple of quick reminders. Number one is go ahead and post your comments. I love to hear from you guys, and I love to respond to comments. That's how I get my feedback and my kicks. So please do that. Second point is, of course, please like this and share this. I release this content for free because I want it to spread and I want it to help others. And I want to enlist you in helping me spread the message. And then, of course, finally, go to Actualized.org for more advanced development videos just like this one, free. And then, of course, there we have lots of articles and exercise files and other resources for free that can help you out even more. All right, I am signing off.